So what's going on YouTube? Um, so I want to talk about what young black men miss out on when their fathers are not around. Now, I'm not trying to talk about why the father isn't around or, because he bailed or because he couldn't get along with his mother or the mother felt like she can raise him by himself. I'm not getting into the whys, but I'm getting into what is lost. Um, because we don't have strong relationships with our sons. And I want to talk about the whole idea of job training. Um, I remember when I was in high school, we moved my senior year. It was just down the block, nothing far. And we got new tile put in. And if you ever, try to put in tile yourself or seen anybody try to, you'll understand that it's pretty hard, especially when you have to cut the tile and you have to work on the angling and make sure that the lines match up. It's very tedious and it's very, it takes a lot of time and practice. And we had a guy who Hispanic and he helped us put in the tile, and I noticed he had his sons with him now, and his sons at the time were probably in middle school, right? And they were there helping their father out to the point where I almost felt like the father didn't even have to be there. These kids knew how to do it so well, right? I'm like, wow, that is a great skill um, for someone to learn because most other people can't do that. Um, and I noticed that our gardener, who's also Hispanic, um, when he helped us put in our sprinkler system, he had his sons with him, right? Now, and this isn't the whole idea of the broke gardener. This is more so, it was his own business. So he worked it, but he also had other people working for him. So, nevertheless, he was putting in our sprinkler system, which I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do that on your own. Can be tedious in terms of the piping and in terms of wiring the control unit and timing it, right? It is a skill. Um, and he had his sons with him as well, or maybe I don't know his nephews, but he had younger men with him learning how to put in a sprinkler system. And I'm like, wow, this is a great tool these kids can learn. Um, and the last day of school for my kids was yesterday, Thursday. And I asked, yo, what are you guys doing for the summer? How you guys are going to spend your summer? And a lot of them said, I'm just going to hang out, have fun, and I'm, probably going to be working with my father. My father works in construction, or my father's a plumber, or my father is an electrician, or, my father is a delivery driver. So I'm probably just going to be helping him, and, helping my uncle, and if I'm not doing that, just hanging out. And, I realized that, these kids are getting job training already. So these children may not be going to college, but they're going to have a skill. They can get into the family business, or they can take what they've learned and go work for somebody else. Right? I even had one kid who talked about, he likes to weld. His father taught him how to weld, right? So he'll probably try to, I don't know, work at an auto body shop, which is just ridiculous. And this kid is only in middle school. I'm like, how cool is that? Right, by the time high school's done, you know that you can go get a job working at an auto body shop, and everybody's into customizing their cars. So you've already getting practice in doing what you have to do. I mean, I even know a kid who's already tattooing and doing well off of it. Right, because his father tattoos, so he tattoos. Right, he does it out of his garage, and I'm like, wow. Right, that's the impact of having that father around, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff that the father gives you, but for me, just the whole idea of him teaching his son a trade that he can use is incredible to me. Um, and I realize that we're not getting that. Um, so my question to you guys is, do you guys really think that we can actually almost create trade schools that almost give these children these skills? Do you think it would be a viable option to do? I mean, I know the whole idea of having a trade school isn't new, but I realized, and even in high school, that most of my friends who didn't go to college, who were non-black, weren't necessarily down and out and looking for something to do. They hopped into jobs. Right? They hopped into construction. I had a friend who graduated, and a week later he was like, "Yeah, I'm off to Vegas doing construction." And he's doing well for himself. Right? He's never out of work. He's never out of work. So I'm thinking to myself, would it be a viable solution to think about gathering black men who do have trade and skill knowledge, and trying to formulate some sort of black owned and ran school that helps young black men acquire some of these blue collar skills? Because I think it's worthwhile. Really, I do. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you can never substitute what a father can do, but the skill of giving your son, something that he can use in the job market, I think can be duplicated. Right? I really do. Of course, it would take a lot of planning, but I don't know. I'm just putting that whole idea out to you guys. How do you feel? Do you think it can work? Don't you think it could work, and all that other good stuff? I mean, it's only blatantly obvious to me. I mean, I just think about, even a couple of weeks ago, I had to go get a suit altered. I had to go get it hemmed. And the guy was Middle Eastern, and his son and daughter were in there practicing, right? And they own it. They owned the tailoring shop. And I'm like, wow, these kids are probably going to go off to college, but they have this skill, they have this trade, right? Their father, who is not educated himself in terms of formal education, has built a decent business off of a skill, right? He knows how to tailor clothes and alter clothes, and he's putting together dresses, and I know him because he makes the Nigerian clothes that my mom wears. You buy the lace and the fabric and they sew it together. He does all of that. I'm like, wow, this is such a skill. Right? I don't know too many black people, right, who are good with sewing and all that other good stuff, to the point now where, if you want to get some Nigerian clothes made and get the fabric cut into the right pieces, we're automatically going to somebody who's not even African, not even black. And their children know how to do it as well. There's times where I've dropped clothes off from my mom, and it's the daughter that knows, oh, okay, I'll tell my father, or I'll get started on it immediately. How crazy is that? And this is a kid. So anyways, I don't know. Tell me how you feel. Take it easy. God bless.